Hello everyone, it's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland, my weekly show where I take a deep dive into a particular film. And this is the beginning of my next series as I highlight Hayao Miyazaki, one of the greatest directors of all time. Yes, just period, not just animation, but also one of the most significant directors to create animation, and with Studio Ghibli just has left such a big impact on the world of animation, and specifically anime, out of Japan. And joining me for our first episode in this series is my wife, Jess. Jess, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Jess will also be joining on the Spirited Away episode, which will be a really big one. But for those who haven't tuned into the show before, we have 3 segments, and we will be starting with our coming attractions for May 30th, so the last weekend of May, and then we'll be focusing on our film Yuki's Son, which is unfortunately the only short of Miyazaki's that I'm going to be able to cover, because every single one of his other animated shorts were not commercialized and are only available at the Studio Ghibli Museum in Tokyo. And someday,
don't threaten me with a good time.
Someday, going to Japan,
I did not get to go there when I went.
Would like to go watch some of these shorts and come back and make some episodes whenever the hell that might be. And then we'll finish up with some recommendations.
And prices fall a little bit.
But, so this weekend, we have the Filippo brothers coming out with their new horror film, Bring Her Back. We have Jane Austen Wrecked My Life, which is getting a wider release. And we're also getting the limited release of the Phoenician Scheme, which we just did last week for our show here. And if I'm not mistaken, there's one other big release that's coming out this weekend. Oh yes, Karate Kid Legends. 2 branches, 1 tree.
Tragically not Karate Kid, The Fight for Custody. Would they fight for Anthony? They seem to kind of hate him, honestly.
To be fair, the actress that played Daniel's wife retired from acting.
But that would have been a really funny title. Yeah,
but we do get Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio coming together for this one. And then there's a few smaller films coming out this weekend, including Tornado from director John McLean, who previously did Slow West, which is a film that we both love. We watched together for the first time.
Justice for Slow West.
Back in 2015, and nobody else watched it.
No one's ever even
the best westerns of the 21st century.
Yeah, no one's even mentioned it to me.
But just why is Tornado your most anticipated film for this weekend?
I thought it was a good time. It's got good tension. Great payoff.
So, spoiler alert, we did get to watch this already because I got a screening link for this, but it's a samurai western set in 1790s Scotland.
I like western, period. That's it.
There you go.
I liked it.
And this is the first feature film that McLean has done since Slow West, and which is really interesting that 10 years later you're finally getting another film. I have to rewatch Slow West, but I feel like I like Slow West more, but I love the concept of this with Kiko as Tornado, the main girl who seeks revenge after her puppeteer father is murdered by a gang led by Sugarman, played by Tim Roth, and his son, Young Sugar, played by Jack Lowden, and a whole entire gang of characters, including Rory McCann, the Hound, plays Kitten, the aptly named Kitten.
He's only allowed to have animal names.
Yes.
You can't name him anything else.
But it's a really interesting film. The one that I'm most anticipating, this was tough because I am really looking forward to Karate Kid Legends, but Bring Her Back, I love Talk to Me, the Filippo's first film. These 2 Australian brothers are really messing up people's calm, dealing with grief with these wild horror films that they're making. And I did get to see this a couple weeks early, and it is haunting. It is demented. It is messed up. And Sally Hawkins is in it in a villainous role, which is very interesting and not on brand. Type. Yes, she is the mom from Paddington, at least the first 2. And then she took
got canceled.
Well, no, she took Wonka instead.
Oh.
With Paul King. She jumped ship with him.
Wow, her mistake indeed.
She played Wonka's mom.
I I like Paddington more.
I'd rather have had her in Paddington. She's barely in Wonka anyway. But those are our coming attractions for the last week here in May. But let's give a little bit of background on Yuki's son. Which, when I say let's give a little background, it is little background indeed. But we have, this is based on Tetsuya Chiba's manga that I think it lasted for like 5 years before this short was made. This is the first animated short for Hayao Miyazaki, and this was created as a miniature pilot for a TV series that never got made.
Which makes a lot of sense, because I'm like,
yes,
like
because
was hanging.
the story centers around a child named Yuki, a 10-year-old orphan who's been adopted by a family, and over the course of like 5 minutes, it speed runs.
Yeah.
Like a whole couple of years of this girl's childhood.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like she found her dad, he dies, and then we move on to something else. I'm like, okay, I guess it didn't impact her at all then.
She was abandoned because apparently her parents were dead, and she's at this orphanage, and they loved her at the orphanage.
Named her Yuki because she's in the snow.
And then she gets adopted by a rich family, and then the patriarch of the rich family gets arrested, and then she's out on her own again. And then she finds out her parents are alive, but then her father dies, and then she's all upset. And then she reunites with her mother, and boom, that was the pilot.
And there's a lot of horses.
Yes, there's a lot of horses.
She seems like she likes horses. Good for her.
She's a horse girl.
We all go through those phases.
And so, like, at that point, it was just like, oh, well, this is going to be the show then. And then the show never happened. So, this is on Mubi. So, if you have that streaming service...
Cute.
I'm sure it's on YouTube, too. But, like, they have a crisp recording of this, copy of this. But it is cute. It's endearing. Yuki seems like she's a lot of fun. It's completely narrated over, so, like, there's no, like...
They're just telling you the story.
Yeah, you get...
Here's Yuki, she's an orphan. They love her at the orphanage.
It's Miyazaki story time for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the 2D animation of Rankin Bass when they don't do the stop motion.
Mm-hmm.
It's because, like, this is from 1972, so, like, this is 50-year-old animation, and it definitely has that vibe. It's very colorful, it's very bright, a lot vibrant. It doesn't have a ton of detail.
You can tell it's that era of anime.
Yeah. And yes, because it's like, this does give very, like, Speed Racer vibe and stuff like that. Which, obviously, Miyazaki wound up finishing this project and moving on and directing episodes of the Lupin the Third series.
Also a manga, I think.
Before he made the actual film for Lupin the Third, the Castle of Cagliostro, which I will be doing for my next episode.
We found out Lupin is half French, half Japanese.
Yep.
Thought he was Italian.
But that's for next episode. But, you know, this film's a cute little 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's inoffensive. It's not going to be the most satisfying because what's interesting is his son made Earwig. The Witch. That disgusting, grotesque 3D animated film, which was basically an hour and 15-minute film that felt like a pilot to a TV show, too.
I didn't enjoy that one.
No, I did not. It literally felt like a pilot to a TV show, so I'm like, I guess he was like, my dad did this, why don't I do this? Except,
it was a mistake.
This in 5 minutes was much more pleasing than that in an hour and 15 minutes or so.
To look at. Some things shouldn't be in 3D, it's fine.
Or, like, you can make things in 3D, just, like, don't animate it like it's still 2D. And just turn into, like, grotesque 3D. It's just...
I don't know, I've still been hurt by Rugrats 3D.
But Yuki's Son is a sweet, charming little film.
Yeah,
enjoy it.
That's it.
There you go. We don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it.
It's like eating a little chocolate bar, a little fun-sized chocolate bar. Just you enjoy it, and then it's gone.
And then you move on.
No, I wish the ice cream truck was here.
Maybe soon. Then we have recommendations for you, and Jess wants to recommend The Quilters, a documentary short on Netflix.
I liked it. It's nice. It's very touching, and it makes you think. It's about... Should I summarize it?
Yeah.
It's about...
It's where you're trying to recommend it, so sell it to the audience.
I think that they should just unconditionally trust me. It's about men in a maximum security prison sewing and making quilting. And as a quilter myself, I've seen many, many quilters recommend this, so I would be remiss if I didn't recommend it. But it is very touching. I cried a couple times because, you know, I have a couple head injuries and I just do that all the time. But I really enjoyed it, and I think that I'm going to go through and try to see if they will take any of my sewing machines or fabric.
Oh.
They accept donations. They're all donation run, actually, but they sew quilts for foster children, which is and other kids in need, which is very sweet.
I think it's very interesting because it gives a lot of perspective on the detail-oriented process of making a quilt.
Which I love. I love when people know how much work it's.
Yep.
It's great.
And I think it's a very moving experience watching these men discuss their growth and how much this has meant to them in terms of becoming the men they are now and trying to show that, like, hey, like, maybe I deserve a second chance. Some of them have been doing, like, in prison for, like, 40 years.
In life.
Yep.
The head guy has a life sentence with no possibility for parole.
And just the impact, because they donate all of these quilts and everything. It's a very moving film. It's over on Netflix.
And the ending is very emotional, too, over the credits when they show the kids get them. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
And I, you know, the best part of, as someone who has made various crafts and given them away, the best part is always seeing them used, so it was just nice to see that. Yeah, and I thought it was an interesting perspective, too, because a lot of them were like, yeah, I did it, and it was stupid, and I shouldn't have done it, and here I am. So I thought it was really...
It's a nice pairing with Sing
It's a nice
Sing.
community, yeah. And it's about community, like Sing Sing is, and about giving someone a chance, because how many people never, in general, just never got a chance to try something, or even have somebody believe in them. And the way that they teach each other is so sweet, too. Like, they're so patient with each other. Even if the one guy's pretty abrasive, you can tell that he cares.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I feel like I'm holding the flashlight for my grandpa under the hood or something, and he can just never do it right, but he means well.
Oh.
My grandpa never yelled at me. I was very spoiled.
There you go. But my first recommendation, which is a newly released film, also from Netflix, is Nonnas. This is a Paisan fun time about
this one too.
Like an actual restaurant in Staten Island that is all the cooks are Nonnas. They're actually grandmothers in there cooking their family dishes and stuff like that. Vince Vaughn, surprise Paisan.
Yeah, actually, half Italian?
He's part Italian, and
I know that.
he is very charming in this film, and I don't know why Susan Sarandon is here, but she's like she's the Blanche
token not
of
Italian.
she's the Blanche of the crew, the slut
The
of
fun
the group.
one.
And I love Lorraine Bracco in this. She's so grumpy. Talia Shire is so sweet and innocent. And you have Joe Manganiello and a lot of other very familiar, like, Italian American character actors. It's a sweet film, and it has a lot of good heart. And I'll tell you, when they started playing scenes from an Italian restaurant in it, I'm like, this could be so cheesy at the moment, but it felt so endearing.
It
and I'm just
earned
like,
it, I think.
it felt good.
Yeah.
Film off my watch list is Tales of Terror, as this is narrated by Vincent Price. Roger Corman directed, who did a whole bunch of Edgar Allan Poe adaptations.
Is it an anthology?
It is. It has 3 stories. Vincent Price is the star of one, and then he's in all 3 of them. But
What
then
an icon.
you have Peter Lorre
Also an
and
icon.
Basil Rathbone,
Glad him in there too.
who is in the 3rd one, and these are just really well put together, well staged adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe stories, and it has like that early 60s vibe of horror, and it just really works, and throwing Vincent Price into anything is just fantastic. And lastly, a rewatch.
We saw his chair at that museum that had a lot of fake vampire hunting kits.
Yeah. And then from our animated movie marathon from this month, we rewatched the original Lilo and Stitch, because it is amazing.
Oh man,
and
when that
beautiful.
opening music hits, it just transports me right back.
The mixture of
I was definitely a Lilo and Stitch.
Hawaiian traditional music and
Elvis.
Elvis tunes. Ooh, the devil in disguise.
Yeah, that's a great montage.
Oh, yes, you are. And Stitch is so much fun. I love Lilo. What's Lilo's sister's name?
Nani.
Nani. They have such a great relationship in this, in that there's great conflict, and it's like you could tell like deep down they both really care, and all the alien characters are so much fun.
And watching this older too, it really makes me appreciate Cobra Bubbles, because as a kid he seems like such a dick, and you're like, wow, buddy. But as an adult, I'm like, oh my god, I get it now.
But Ving Rhames is there.
Yeah, and my mom talks about how hard it is to be a parent, and Nani's dealing with her and stuff, so it was just a different perspective. And she was there too, of course.
It's a beautiful and charming little film.
I wish they did that. I don't know if they do it anymore at Disney World. They used to give you a preview, like literally one picture. I don't know if anyone else hallucinated this, but my one picture when my mom and I went, and I think like 2000, was Stitch, and they were like, this is going to be a new up-and-coming movie, and I remember looking at it and being like, what the hell is this? And then when I saw the trailer, I was like,
is the
whoa.
best movie that Disney Animation made between the year 2000 and 2012.
Well, also the best piece of merchandising they could have. Oops, all Stitch everywhere. Everything is Stitch. It's Stitch all the way down now. Half the Disney store is Stitch. Justice for Goofy.
Well,
Goofy merch.
Well, they gotta put it all out there so that the new Lilo and Stitch makes an insane amount of money.
Oh, kids these days. Kids have never stopped loving
As this episode releases, the new Lilo and Stitch will be out. And
no Pleat Cleonatress.
And no giant alien guy either.
No,
Gontu?
Gontu.
Yeah.
Gontu.
Apparently they didn't
Jumbo's
adapt that.
what I was, but he's like the medium big guy.
He's in it.
Gontu's
I did see
guy.
a picture. Yeah, a massive, like
Jumbo.
20 feet tall
the
alien.
shark guy.
But that's another episode here on Welcome to the Wasteland. I'm very excited to start this series on Hayao Miyazaki, which will last about, 3 months. And then he'll be gone. And then it'll be 60 weeks of Hitchcock. But we're not there yet. But Jess, thank you so much for coming on, as always, and talking movies with me.
You're welcome.
And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.